Hello everyone, welcome to another Narc Survivor live video. Coming to you live from the room, the hotel room. And in this one, I am going to be telling you how you can make a narcissist obsessed with you. As many of you may know, I am the master on this topic. I actually have one video on this topic already. It's titled, How to Make a Narcissist Obsessed with You. It's about 35 minutes long. I did this video about 4 years ago. It's achieved over 750,000 views. So yeah, safe to say that I am the master on this topic, on making narcissists or anyone obsessed with you. It's actually very easy to do, although myself and my own personal life, it's not something that I've ever really done myself. I mean, it just kind of happens naturally for me. I am naturally a very charming and charismatic person, and I naturally just attract people to me wherever I go. But with narcissists, of course, it's not always so simple. Especially considering the fact that many narcissists are players, and they may have, if it's a male narcissist, they may have 20 or 30 girls on the side that they're entertaining. And it may be very difficult for you to just get their attention to be on you. And of course, I completely understand that. But even then, yes, there is a way to get these narcissists to focus only on you and to ignore all of these other sources of supply. Yes, it is possible for you to do that. I will say that it is much easier to do this at the beginning, during the love bombing phase, rather than later on. Although saying that, it is still possible. There is still a chance. So yeah, let's get into this topic. Let's talk about how you can make a narcissist obsessed with you. I'm going to give you tips, advice from the master. As I said, I have done a video on this topic already. It has achieved over 750,000 views. And that's just one of many videos I've done on this topic. So if you want to know how to make a narcissist obsessed with you, you are definitely in the right place right now. Before I begin, please give this video a thumbs up down below so that it will get this message out there to other people who may need this information. But yeah, let's get straight into it. How to make a narcissist obsessed with you. What a narcissist wants. What type of person do they target? What they really want is someone who may be alone, without support, someone who is exclusive to them, someone who has no other outside sources of influence, so that they can be solely under the narcissist's influence and control. They can be like the narcissist's possession. their little toy, their plaything. So that's one trait that they are looking for that will help to develop this obsession. It is a person who is isolated without support, without any other sources of influence. Another thing they're looking for is someone who is innocent and naive. Someone who lacks wisdom, knowledge, and experience. Someone who may not have had too many relationships, too many experiences. So everything is all new to them. That's another thing that they are looking for. And also they're looking for someone who may doubt themselves. They're a little bit insecure. They're not so sure about themselves or their abilities, their qualities. They need validation. They need to be told what to do. They need to be told that they're okay. So these are three traits. Three of the main traits, I would say, of their ideal target. It's going to be someone who is alone, isolated, without any of the sources of influence. Someone who is exclusive to them. And not only that, someone who is innocent and naive. Someone who doesn't trust their own judgment. They're a little bit insecure. They doubt their own qualities and abilities. That is exactly what a narcissist is looking for in a target. So you can imagine when they find someone like that, they are all in. They are all over them. And that's why I say it's very easy for you, if you are not involved with the narcissist yet, you can really pull this off very easily, knowing what they are looking for. But if you are already in it, you can still do this. If you have presented yourself as this type of person to the narcissist, you're exclusive to them, you come across as innocent and naive, as someone who is insecure and doubts themselves and needs their validation. Once you've got to that point, now this is where you create the obsession. To do that, you've got to become unpredictable. You've got to switch things up a little bit. Because I can tell you that predictability, that does not create an obsession. That creates familiarity and boredom, dullness. They're just going to forget about you and just leave you on the shelf and focus on their other sources of supply. So you need to become unpredictable. You need to switch things up a little bit. You may have presented yourself as this shy, introverted, naive person in the beginning. Now what you need to do is you need to develop more of an extroverted personality. You need to become more confident and outgoing. Stop being so exclusive to the narcissist. Just start going out more, have more friends, spending more time with other people, not always being at home, waiting for the narcissist to come home. And this will really shake things up for them. Because they're so used to that predictability where you're always there. You're always listening to them. You're always waiting for them. They're so used to that when you suddenly change and you go from being this shy, introverted, naive person who is exclusive to them, to suddenly becoming more extroverted and outgoing, it really confuses the narcissist to where they don't know what is going on. They can't even make sense of it. All they know is that they want things to go back to the way they were before. They want to have that influence and control over you again. That's how it creates an obsession, to where they will constantly be texting you, calling you, wondering where you are, who you're with, and what you're doing. Because you're not the same that you were in the beginning. You're no longer that little toy, that little plaything that they were used to. Now it's like you've sprouted legs and you're off doing your own thing. Trust me, they cannot stand that. If there is one thing that will make a narcissist obsessed, it's when they're so used to having that influence and control over a target, and then all of a sudden they lose it. If there's one thing that will make a narcissist obsessed, it is that. Where they were once used to the control, and then suddenly they lost it. That could drive a narcissist insane. Because if there's one thing that they need, it is control. They need to have that control. Once they lose it, they will become very obsessed with you. But here's another thing as well. And this is very important to take into consideration. They will become obsessed if they lose that control. But, and this is a very big but, only if they believe that they can regain that control. If they know for sure that there is no possible way that they can ever get that control back, no matter what they do, they're just going to give up. They're going to throw in the towel and they're going to focus on their other supplies. They're not going to waste any more time. They're not going to obsess over you. They may in the beginning, but if you completely shut that door and there's no possible way for them to get back in, that obsession will just fade away. They're going to forget about you and they're going to focus on a new target or an existing one. But they're not going to waste any more time with you. They don't like to expend any excess time, effort, or energy if they don't think that they're going to get it back in return. They're very economic in that sense. They don't like to waste too much energy. But once they've lost that control, as long as they feel like they can get it back, as though they can earn your attention, your interest again, then of course they're going to put in the effort. They're going to be texting you every day, calling you, checking on you, wondering where you are, who you're with, what you're doing. They've got to know everything. And they're always going to be there. You will see a completely different side to them. If you just switch things up a little bit, you stop making yourself so available, so accessible to them, you will see a completely different person. And it will really shock and amaze you Because it's like all of this time they just took you for granted. It's like they didn't even know that you were there. And it's because they're just so used to having you around. It's so predictable. They feel like you're always going to be there. You're always going to be theirs, under their control, isolated, alone, exclusive to them. If you switch that up though, yeah, you will see a very different side to them. And it will shock and amaze you. You think you knew this narcissist. You think you knew what they were like. Once they lose that control, they will become obsessed. They will be all over you like a rash. The only reason they're not obsessed right now is because things are very familiar. You're under their control. You're isolated. You're exclusive to them. Your entire life, your entire world revolves around them. They are your world. You have nothing outside of them. You have no other sources of influence. So why would they become obsessed with you? If they know you're not going anywhere, if everything is so predictable, there's no signs, no forecast of anything changing. So what is there for them to worry about? Their obsession, it stems from anxiety. Anxiety is these obsessive worries and thoughts and anticipations of something that may take place in the future. So now by knowing this, you can understand what is going on in their minds when they fear that they're losing control of you. They have an anxiety. They're anticipating what might happen in the future, where you may go off on your own. You may become happier and more successful without them. You may no longer need them and they may lose your supply. Or you may find someone else. You may become happier in a new relationship and forget all about them. Yes, this is what they're anticipating when they fear that they're losing that control. This is what creates the obsession, to where they will be all over you, to where they just can't leave you alone. And this is just one concept. I do have another one as well, which may be very useful to you. If you're interested in knowing how to make a narcissist obsessed with you. And this other concept is based on understanding the fact that if there's one thing a narcissist cares about more than anything else, of course it has to be their image. Narcissists are very concerned about their image. So when they're seeking out a target, they want to be with someone who is going to complement their image. Someone who is going to improve their social position, their status. Someone who is going to make them look good and make them feel good about themselves. So this typically may be someone who is quite physically attractive, someone who is wealthy, has a lot of money, someone who has good connections, typically superficial things. That's what they're going to be looking for if they're very concerned about their image, which, as we know, most narcissists are, if not all. And they will tie their image to you. If you are physically attractive, wealthy, powerful, intelligent, you have good connections, you're charismatic, you're charming, you can improve their social position. And following doing that, their status is going to be tied to you. If they lose you, it's going to affect their status. It will affect them socially, which, as we know, is a very big deal to a narcissist. So, of course, if you're out at a restaurant or a party, an event, and they see you talking to someone of the opposite sex, they are really going to panic. They're going to get really jealous and possessive, and they will become obsessed with you. They will try to control you. And it's not so much that they care about you. I mean, they may worry about losing you as well as their supply. But not only that, it's because their social position, their social status, it's tied to you and your physical attractiveness, your wealth, your intelligence, your charisma, your charm, your connections, whatever it may be. It's tied to that. So if they lose you to someone else, or you just lose interest in them, that's going to affect their image. It's going to cause a big problem for them. So they may go above and beyond to keep you. And in that type of situation, you can really milk them for all they're worth. You can get vacations, cars, whatever you want. When a narcissist believes that their social status or position is tied to what they have with you. If you can get yourself in that type of position with a narcissist, you can really gain an incredible advantage over them. They will be at the mercy of you. And there's really very little they can do about it, unless they are willing to sacrifice everything just to get rid of you, so that they're no longer heavily dependent on you. Which typically a psychopath might do that, but a narcissist usually won't. They're not going to risk it all. I mean, remember, their image is very important to them. A psychopath could care less about their image or reputation. All they're really concerned about is getting ahead and gaining power. But yeah, these are my two concepts of how you can make a narcissist obsessed with you. Let's go back to the first one. Remember, I said of how narcissists target people with certain traits. They're looking for someone who is isolated, without support, someone who is innocent and naive, someone who may doubt themselves, they may be insecure, they may doubt their own qualities and abilities. Yeah, they want someone like that who is exclusive to them. Someone who is predictable and familiar, where they feel like they have control. But then if that person suddenly becomes more extroverted and outgoing, and they start being involved in certain activities, or they start making new friends and going out more, then it suddenly becomes very unpredictable. The narcissist will develop a lot of anxiety and worry, a lot of anticipation, and they may become more controlling, more obsessed in that type of situation. And then the second concept that I have for you on how to make a narcissist obsessed with you is when their social status or position is tied to you. If you happen to be rather physically attractive, wealthy, powerful, intelligent, charming, charismatic, or you have good connections, then the narcissist has to do whatever they can to keep you, to make you happy, so that they don't lose their favor, their social standing. And in that type of position, you can really get whatever you want from a narcissist. They may do whatever it takes just to keep you, so that they can maintain their image and their social status. So that's really it. Those are my two concepts of how you can make a narcissist obsessed with you. Some of you may have unknowingly done that already. If you have, let me know down below in the live chat. I'd love to hear from you. I will read it out and respond to you. Or let me know if you're dealing with a narcissist and they've gotten really comfortable with you. They're not doing what they did in the beginning to keep you. And you want to get more of their attention. You want them to notice you more. You want to get them a little bit more obsessed, because maybe you've been obsessing over them. You're constantly wondering where they are, what they're doing, who they're with. Let's look at the live chat here. Ski45 says, if someone doesn't want you and you go after them, the problem is now you. You know what? I kind of said it better myself there. That's very true. You're very right. If someone does not want you, you shouldn't want them. What you should want is a person who wants you. It's much better that way. Instead of you having to do everything you can to try to make a person want you. But that being said, let's say it's someone you really like, someone who's really special to you. They're really cute, really sexy. You can't find anyone else like them. They're difficult to replace. But maybe they start losing interest in you. What do? Would you just leave them, or do you want to try and figure out a way, understand the psychology, so that you can get them interested in you again. Because it's not always about manipulation. Sometimes you just need to work on yourself. Build your character, be a bit more interesting, a bit more exciting, a bit more mysterious, a bit more unpredictable. That's not manipulation. I mean, you're trying to better yourself. You're trying to give something of value to someone. There's nothing wrong with that. That's great. But I do get what you're saying as well. I mean, if it's someone who's made it clear that they do not want you, and you're still wanting and obsessing over them, you're wasting your time, of course. Just move on to someone else. But if you're already in a relationship with them and they've just lost interest, then of course, yeah, in something like that, you should work on it. Things can improve. Just looking through the live chat. Going to read out your comments now and respond to them. Kirsty Teco says, person who abuses in any way purposely, it is not worth time spent with them. Well said, Kirsty. Anyone who abuses, especially deliberately, that intentionally harming you or someone else, you should walk away from that person at the earliest opportunity. Doesn't matter, even if they're not abusing you directly, even if you just catch them doing something harmful to someone else, you need to leave that person alone. Because they are dangerous. They clearly lack effective empathy. They're capable of doing harmful, dangerous things. They're toxic, they're dysfunctional. They've got bad energy. They're broken, they're damaged. So just being around them, they're going to damage you as well. Doesn't matter, even if they don't direct any abuse at you, but you see it done towards another person, that's going to come back to you at some point. It's going to affect you as well. So yeah, Kirsty, any type of abuse, you need to avoid it at all costs. You need to stay away from it. It doesn't matter if that abuse is happening to you or someone else. Just get yourself away from it. I mean, this is what I encourage, what I promote. That we gravitate towards healthy and functional environments and people. People who value and respect not only themselves, but other people as well. And remember, this is another Narc Survivor quote here. As I've said before, you cannot disrespect another person without first disrespecting yourself. Remember that. Anytime that you see someone disrespecting another person, they are disrespecting themselves first. That means they do not value themselves. They're low value people. So they're not going to be any good for you. Unicorns Are Real says, I went no contact and broke things off. It's been a year and a half and still stalking. Text, email, and they are blocked. I stand on my worth and stay grounded, blessed and happy. I'm glad to hear that unicorns are real. Congratulations on going no contact. But I'm sorry to hear that you're still experiencing the stalking a year and a half later. In some situations, there really is no end to it. I've heard of some people being stalked for decades. I remember one person said they've been stalked since the 1980s. And they're still getting it now. I mean, it just reveals how crazy these people are. I mean, you got to think, to even be stalked for a few days, even that's bad enough. Just put yourself in that position. Can you imagine yourself stalking someone for a few days? How crazy does that sound? I mean, unless, of course, you've kidnapped their children, you've stolen their money or possessions. That's a completely different situation. But if there's nothing you owe to them, you're just going about your business, you're just trying to move on with your life, they're still after you, something is very wrong with them because they don't have any business with you. Karika Bree, I don't know if I pronounced that right, but I give it a go. He or she says they don't like others being happy because they have holes in their souls. Their curse is that they will never be happy. It's very true, Karika Bree. Yes, they have holes in their souls. Not the place that we typically want the holes to be, in all honesty. But yeah, I mean, I would go as far as to say they don't have souls at all. In my opinion, from what I've experienced, it really does feel like we're dealing with soulless people. People who have no heart. There's nothing inside of them. And yeah, as you said, that is their curse. That is their karma. They are their own karma. As I said in a recent live video. The fact that they are narcissists, and just that they have the ability to treat people in this way, yeah, that's their karma. That's why they're always so miserable. And they're so full of shame. Ski45 again says, at first the abuse is subtle. Yeah, it is always in the beginning. It's like the boiling frog syndrome. They just gradually turn up the heat. And then before you know it, you're being boiled alive. And you're just wondering how it even got to that point. But once you've been through a few narcissistic relationships, you can already see it coming. You already know, even though at the beginning it's not so bad, they're not really so abusive, but you already know it's just a matter of time because you've seen it before. You already know what it's like. I've seen it so many times. I've been in multiple narcissistic relationships, and every time they start off quite tame in the beginning, and they could almost fool you as though they're different, they're not the same as the ones you dealt with before. But it always ends up the same after a certain amount of time. They're just learning you in the beginning. They're getting more comfortable with you. And then soon enough, they will show you exactly who they are. Can you say my name? Keithy963. There, I've said it. Marwas King. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikumus salam. Kirsty Teko says, yes, even a little time with an abuser, it affects and damages us and we start to lose value ourselves. That's it. I mean, when you are around a low value person, of course, your value is going to go down. And then it's so easy for them to manipulate and gaslight you and shift the blame onto you and make you feel like you're low value. And if you're an empath, of course, you're going to self-loathe and blame yourself. You're going to start thinking you're not good enough and you need to do more for them. But it's never going to work that way. When you're around low-value people, your value goes down. And if you pay attention to it, you will notice it. It could be something where you're out in public, you spot a narcissistic person, and just pay attention to it. Just by being in that environment, in their proximity, you are disrespecting yourself by doing that. Because you're putting yourself around someone who is harming you. Not physically, but mentally, emotionally, psychologically. But then also notice the contrast, the difference. When you're around someone who is giving you value. And there's many different ways a person can give value. It could be through love, sending good vibes, peace, joy, happiness, acceptance, or maybe through reasoning. They're giving you wisdom, experience. These are all means of giving value. But with narcissists, they are negative. They operate primarily in the vibrations of pride, desire, anger, fear, guilt, and shame. These are all negative frequencies. They take value away. Yes, I can say your name, Marius King. I don't normally do shout outs, but it seems it is in demand today. Ski45 says people that are in a relationship with a narcissist have a huge self-love deficit. You know, I would say that narcissists, they don't always target people who are deficient in self-love. Sometimes they do, but not always. Sometimes they will target people who are strong and who have high self-esteem, because that's a challenge as well, to see if they can break that person down. So over time, yes, if you remain in the relationship, you must be lacking self-love. You're in a situation where you are allowing yourself to be disrespected. So technically you are disrespecting yourself as well. If you do have the opportunity to leave, of course. One thing I would definitely say is that people who are around narcissists, not only victims, but those who enable them, and they're flying monkeys as well. One thing that all of these people have in common is that they lack a consistent identity of their own and a strong sense of self. Because if they had that, then they would be able to separate and differentiate themselves from them. And you would be able to distinguish those people from the narcissist if they did have a consistent identity and strong sense of self of their own. Maybe I shouldn't be holding this up with one hand. Almost dropped it everywhere. Use my leg. This big bottle, because I drink so much water. I must drink about 4 liters a day. Maybe more. And then on top of that, sometimes I have juice and tea. The tea is usually caffeine-free and unsweetened. I try to avoid all stimulants. I try to avoid caffeine altogether. No coffee, no tea. No tobacco, no alcohol, no nicotine, no energy drinks. Just nothing that will spike my blood sugar or that will give me an unusual amount of energy. Because in all honesty, I just don't need that. I'm naturally very high energy. From the moment I wake up in the morning, I do a few hours of work, I get ready, I go out, I travel for a few hours. I come back, I do another few hours of work. I've been working all evening. For the last 3-4 hours. It's now 11 p.m. here and I still have tons of energy. And in fact, I have so much energy. I mean, I've probably got more energy than a child. Even at my age now, I'm 35 next month. I have so much energy that I have to take a tranquilizer pill every night just so I can get some sleep. I mean, I am a super high energy person. And I would say that it's because since I had my spiritual awakening, I kind of lost the concept of time and space. I just see everything as infinite with no end. So there's no real reason for me to sleep. It's only because we do have routines in this world. Things close and then things start again in the morning. So I try to go along with that. Otherwise, I could probably just stay awake for weeks and never sleep. Still have tons of energy. Still look refreshed like a baby. And yeah, this is at 35 years of age. No caffeine, no tea, no coffee, no tobacco, no alcohol, no sugary drinks, just no stimulants, just natural energy. And it's pure. No agenda. And I believe this is the way to be, this is the way to live. And I hope that I can inspire you as well to follow in this lifestyle that I live. By seeing me, I always look healthy, my skin is glowing, full of life and energy. More energy than most children these days. Give it a go for a few weeks. Just cut off the coffee, the tea. Don't go cold turkey, of course. Just reduce it gradually over a period of time. Reduce your intake of coffee and tea, caffeine, sugary drinks, alcohol, tobacco, nicotine, any addictions. And also try a vegan diet like myself. No meat, no fish, no dairy products. I am living proof that it works and that it is effective. I mean, just look back at my videos over the past few years. It's since 2019. I believe it was 2019. That's when I became a vegan. And it was around 2018. That's when I cut off all alcohol. And also energy drinks. Stopped using recreational drugs such as cannabis. And I became a lot healthier. And you can really see in my appearance, it has changed a lot over the years in my live videos. I look a lot more youthful. I have a lot more energy. I mean, just look at the videos, even just 1 year ago. I was doing videos around the same time, about 11 o'clock at night. I look a lot more tired. Now I'm so much more awake. I have so much more energy. It really is amazing, the difference. And I want you all to experience this as well. Just natural energy. Feeling alive every day. And I believe that we can all achieve that. But yeah, that's it for this one. Speaking of sleep, I should be getting ready for bed now. It is 11:15 p.m. here. As you can see, it's quite dark out here in Japan. So yeah, I'm gonna have a shower, go to bed. We do have a premiere beginning in less than 3 hours. So do check it out. Just like to thank you all for joining me on another Narc Survivor live video. I do appreciate you all. And if you would like to show your support, you can give this video a thumbs up down below. It's very important as it helps the YouTube algorithm to get this message out there to other survivors. And remember, your good deeds, the energy that you put out there, it will come back to you tenfold. So do a good deed right now. It takes you 2 seconds. Just give this video a thumbs up down below. And that energy that you put out, it will come back to you. You will get what you want as well. So thank you for showing your support. And let me know what you think about this video in the comment section below. I read your comments every day and I try to respond to as many of them as I can. Hit the subscribe button and click all notifications so that you will be notified when I upload a video in the future. And if you'd like to book a one-on-one coaching session with me, just go to my website. It is narcsurvivor.co.uk. And also follow me on Instagram. It is Narc Survivor YouTube. Again, thank you all for joining me. And as always, I look forward to talking with you in another live video very soon.